Mike Davis. Mike, people are saying that you might become Trump's new attorney general. Well, you're saying that, and other people are agreeing. What would you do as Trump's AG?
Well, I mean, I don't know, Charlie, if I could ever get confirmed. I ran the Senate Judiciary Committee's nominations process. I think I might get one charity vote from my former boss, Chuck Grassley, and it would end his 60-year political career. But I'd like to troll the left about being Trump's acting attorney general for 3 weeks, and during my 3-week reign of terror, going after the left. And I use this hyperbole to make a point, and that is what Democrats are doing to Trump's lawyers, Trump's top aides, Trump supporters on January 6th, parents outraged at school board meetings about gender chaos and the resulting rapes in high school bathrooms, Christians praying outside of abortion clinics while the Biden Justice Department and these Democrat prosecutors give amnesty to Joe Biden, his son Hunter, his brother James, the rest of their corrupt family that's taken millions in foreign bribes and other corruption from every hellhole around the world, China, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, you name it, along with BLM and Antifa and Hamas supporters. My point is that these are republic-ending tactics by Democrats. They think that they're going to take out Trump, but all they're doing is they are destroying our country.
So just talk about the acting thing. There is kind of a hack where you can get a patriot to be AG without having to go through the Senate. Remind us about this.
Well, there's the Vacancy Act, and what you have to do is you have to be in a Senate-confirmed position already, or you have to be the deputy in line, so some Biden hack who Biden puts in place when Trump takes office on January 20th, 2025, or you have to be in a senior Justice Department position for 90 days. And so that's how you become the acting attorney general. And that's the problem is these Democrats are going to control the Trump administration for the first several months. And if Republicans don't win the Senate, they're going to just control the Trump administration's key cabinet posts. And so that's why it is so important that Republicans rally behind President Trump. The primary's over, get behind President Trump. We need to make sure that he wins. We need to quit, his primary opponents need to quit secretly weaponizing this lawfare. And what we need to do is get behind these Republican Senate candidates. It is so important that we win the White House and the Senate because guess what? The Supreme Court is on the line in 2024. And if you think the Democrats are bad now, just imagine what they'll do if we lose our last line of defense, the constitutionalist Supreme Court. There goes our God-given rights to speak, associate, worship, and protect ourselves.
I hear you 100%. One of my big concerns, Mike, and I'm sure you agree with this, is that there's a lot of future casting, but what I hear from the grassroots say, hold on. You have the House right now. What materially could Speaker Johnson and the House of Representatives do to address the weaponization of government and the growing Maoism within our government? No more abstractions. I know, Mike, you're a detail guy, right? I've lost patience with Speaker Johnson. I'm sick of this CR thing. The FBI is getting a new headquarters. You know, it is fat and chummy and things are wonderful in D.C. I'm personally sick of it. I want marching orders. Mike Davis, what can be done now to the end of the year? Action items.
Well, I'll tell you, the Article 3 project proposed and Congressman Andrew Clyde from Georgia is now championing 2 appropriations riders that House Republicans can include in this appropriations process to end this election interference, this unprecedented Democrat lawfare against President Trump. Number 1, no federal funds can go to the prosecution of any major presidential candidate on or before November 5th, 2024, in any state or local governments that prosecutes any major presidential candidate on or before November 5th, 2024, loses all federal funds. If Democrats want to play their games, if they want to go after Trump, they can wait until after the presidential election. They waited 30 months to bring these unprecedented, bogus indictments against President Trump. They can wait until after the election. Let the American people, not Democrat prosecutors and Democrat judges and Democrat juries in these Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta, decide the next election.
So I totally agree. Why aren't they doing that? What is with this CR till January? Why are Republicans giving the FBI a new headquarters? I know that these are questions you get a lot. Is there even a willingness to try to rein in the administrative state? It's been all talk from the House Republicans. What a letdown they've been.
Well, I mean, I tend to agree with you, Charlie. I will say this about Speaker Mike Johnson. I'm willing to give him running room for this one CR, but he needs to put up or shut up after that, right? We need to start getting serious about cutting spending to pre-COVID levels. We need to get serious about using the appropriations process, policy writers in the appropriations process, to end this cultural Marxism, this gender chaos where we have transgender surgeries for kids and prisoners. We have weaponized justice systems. I published a Fox News opinion piece on this several months, and I think what House Republicans need to insist on is, look, we're not going to fund this. And if you want to shut down the governments over transgender surgeries for kids, if you want to shut down the governments for weaponizing our Justice Department and throwing the leading presidential candidate in prison for the rest of his life, then guess what? We're not going to fund this. You're going to take the diet that we put you on, Senate Democrats and President Biden, and we're going to include these policy writers. And if you don't take them, shut down the damn government and go back and explain to the American people why you're shutting down the government over transgender surgeries for kids or throwing your political enemies in prison.
Yeah, I mean, you're a better person than I am. I'm done with patience with Mike Johnson. I'm sick of it. The country's falling apart. I don't give him any sort of breathing room. You're done. Go back to run a Bible study. I'm sick of it. But, you know, I appreciate the pushback because sometimes I need to be put in place with my lack of patience with this stuff. But very simple, though, Mike. Do we really believe January this is going to be a reckoning? Like all of a sudden these guys are going to come back from Christmas and New Year's break and find intestinal fortitude or courage? I'm skeptical. I would have liked to see Bedlam before Christmas. Then people forget everything. They get super drunk on New Year's and it's a new year, whatever. Well, that was kind of crazy. You could have literally had a new year, turn the page. I'm supposed to have faith that we're going to have an amazing holding of the line on January 15th. I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
No, I mean, I hear you, Charlie. These people have been spending like drunken sailors on a bipartisan basis for decades, going back to President George W. Bush. They're both guilty. The Democrats are worse than the Republicans, but the Republican uniparty is just as bad. And this is the message to House Republicans, to Speaker Mike Johnson. If you don't get serious about cutting spending to pre-COVID levels, if you don't get serious about ending this Marxism that the federal government funds, if you don't get serious about ending this weaponization, you're going to have a lot of Republicans sit home this next election. So do you want to keep...
That's exactly right. That's what I was getting at, and you actually made my point for me. You know, I'm all in for the Senate stuff, right? We're going to win West Virginia. Thank you, Joe Manchin. That's signed, sealed, delivered. Montana's looking good. Ohio, hopefully we get Bernie Moreno. If we lose the Senate, Mike Davis, it will be one of the greatest failures in the presidential year. You have red state Democrats in a presidential year with Trump on the ticket. If we don't win the Montana and Ohio Senate races and flip those, we have no business being in politics, right? The RNC should already resign. It's just a disaster. So, so Mike Davis, talk about that and just build that out a little bit more in the next segment. I talked to some Republican donors that don't see it the way I do, and they're great people. They say, I want to win. We got to pump. We got to say, no, you don't understand. If you don't govern, our people aren't going to show up. Absent Trump, they really wouldn't show up. Mike Davis.
You're 100% right. And guess what? We need to get serious about governing. These Republicans need to stop being the string orchestra of the Titanic. Our country is failing. The left has taken over every institution in our country. They've taken over the military, for crying out loud. They've taken over universities long ago. If we don't get serious about fighting back against this leftism, this Marxism, we're going to lose our country. If President Trump is not our next president, if the Senate Republicans don't take back the Senate so we can confirm his judges and confirm his cabinet picks, we're going to lose our country.
Mike, I want to keep you for another segment. It's been, there's so much news going on, and I read this ridiculous Koch network memo. They act like it's 1989. Oh, we need someone that has brighter days and a beautiful morning. And listen, pal, you got a former president facing 700 years in federal prison. Like, snap out of it, okay? 1989 is over. It's been over for a long time. We're at war against the Maoists. We are at war against the Maoists. I want to just get a legal update, Mike. It's been a while. It's been like on the back burner. And I think people almost forget, oh, yeah, Donald Trump is maybe going to prison before the election. Okay, Mike Davis, stay right there. Rough Greens is amazing. ruffgreens.com. I encourage you guys to check it out. You've heard me talk about Rough Greens and how it's literally helping thousands of dogs feel better and live longer. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who created Rough Greens, is an airborne ranger. He's totally committed to helping as many dogs as possible because he knows dogs need nutrition too. Dr. Black and his dogs are offering a free Jumpstart trial bag. That is a free Jumpstart trial bag. Go to roughgreens.com/Kirk, ruffgreens.com/Kirk. Get your free Jumpstart trial bag. Look, it's an amazing product. If you own dogs, you got to check it out. Omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and plenty of antioxidants. Dr. Black and his dogs are offering a free Jumpstart trial bag. So check it out right now at roughgreens.com/Kirk. Roughgreens.com/Kirk. Get your free Jumpstart trial bag. All you have to do, you do not have to change your dog's food. Just add a small scoop of Rough Greens. That is ruffgreens.com/Kirk. Dog food is dead food, but Rough Greens has essential vitamins and minerals, omega oils, and digestive enzymes, probiotics, and plenty of antioxidants. Offer a free Jumpstart trial bag, roughgreens.com/Kirk. It's time for hardball. I'm sick of this kid gloves with Mike Johnson. Either step up, lead, follow, or get out of the way. We'll be right back.
Party division. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll reflect on it. I will say I will be very proud of how we allow people who disagree at every single event to come to the front of the line. We've made that a rule over a decade, and I think that's a really good thing, and I wish more people would do that. But look, I will say, let's just use a huge example. Was it the American right or largely the American left that engaged in active censorship in the 2020 election?
The left.
Okay. So do you think who has a greater speech problem, like a tolerance of different ideas, right or left? And I don't mean to overly politicize it. I just want to try to isolate it so we can fix it.
Sure, absolutely. I actually wasn't disagreeing with you on this point. It was more so of that I do agree it is the left that's in question here, but I wanted your opinion on the state of discourse. And
the state of discourse is awful. It's terrible. I'll give you an example. This didn't happen here, and I was surprised, to be honest. I went to go speak at Arizona State University with Dennis Prager, not exactly the most controversial person, right? Maybe you feel like a disagreement about Deuteronomy or something. I don't know. But I love Dennis, but not exactly controversial. And the professors, right, 33 out of 40 of the professors at Arizona State University said we should not be allowed to come on campus, right? That is not a liberal value. That's a Bolshevik value, right? And you have to wonder what motivates them to want to sign a petition like that to try to prevent that kind of dialogue and discourse from occurring. So, I mean, look, the trajectory right now towards censorship overall is very bad. It's very damaging, and people get angrier, right? So one of the things I'm encouraged is when people that don't agree with
The Charlie Kirk Show, where truth lives. Join us and thousands of American patriots for an event unlike any other with the biggest speakers in the movement. Featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Roseanne Barr, Patrick Bet-David, Candace Owens, Rob Schneider, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump Jr., Glenn Beck, and more.
We are people that want to conserve the good, the true, and the beautiful against those that want to try and destroy it.
December 16th through 19th in Phoenix, Arizona. Join us for America Fest 2023. Register now at amfest.com.
amfest.com. And yes, we're going to keep promoting it, everybody. Every day, we got to get the momentum going. Snap out of the malaise, no despair. Get your tickets, show up, learn how to do the work. Bring your granddaughter, bring your grandkid, bring your brother, bring the whole family. amfest.com, Phoenix, Arizona. Get your tickets, amfest.com. Okay, Mike Davis continues. Mike, we have 5 minutes. Give us a legal update. Chances that Trump gets sentenced before prison. What is this? We haven't done an update on this in a while. Is Trump going to trial in January? What is the update here?
Yeah, I mean, if Democrats have their way, if Joe Biden and Jack Smith and D.C. Obama Judge Tanya Chutkan and these other Democrat prosecutors and judges around the country have their way, they would have the leading presidential candidate go to prison instead of facing President Biden on November 5th, 2024. Remember, they impeached President Trump twice for nonsense. They've indicted him 4 times for non-crimes. They're trying to bankrupt his family business for non-fraud. They've illegally gagged him twice in violation of his First Amendment rights, where he can't even complain about Jack Smith or the process. And they're even trying to throw this legal Hail Mary. They tried this out in Colorado, and they're trying this around the country. They're just going to try to take him off the ballot using a post-Civil War constitutional amendment used to disqualify Confederate insurrectionists who went to war against the Union. They're trying to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to say that January 6th was somehow an insurrection, and therefore President Trump is disqualified in these various blue states. They're starting in Colorado and blue states. They're trying to get the precedent set, and then they want to use this in swing states. So they just want to have President Biden or Newsom or whoever the hell they run win by default, even though President Trump has the popular support.
Yep.
This is an outrageous legal attack, and it's the people who pretend like they're the protectors of democracy are trying to destroy our democracy.
Yeah, so there's 3 attack vectors right now, and we don't have time to go through all of them. There's the personal stuff with Trump, Big Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, and 2 DOJ. Then there's ballot access stuff, which is Colorado and others, which is on the surface a good victory, thanks to you, Mike, but on the deep level, they're setting a precedent to kick him off the ballot. Then there's the third stuff, which is the New York civil trial, where they just might take his business empire from him. That's just to drain time, energy, resources, and distraction. I want to get to the personal criminal stuff, though, because that's the stuff that really worries me. As of today, what is the trial schedule?
Well, they have these trials going back to back to back starting in January, right? So
which one's first? Sorry to interrupt. We don't have a lot of time. So what's happening in January?
So I don't have these in front of me, but January, okay. I believe they're starting with the D.C. trial with Tanya Chutkan, and they do a March trial, and then they do a May trial. So it's back to back to back with 3 trials. And it's insane that they're trying to do this. They haven't even produced all the discovery that the criminal defendants are entitled to receive from the prosecution. Yet Jack Smith is teaming up with this Obama D.C. judge to bring these bogus charges against Trump for January 6th. It is not a crime to object to a presidential election. It's allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. Democrats objected to Republican wins in 1968, 2000, 2004, and 2016. We don't see John Kerry and Al Gore and Hillary Clinton in prison for objecting, but yet they're trying to use a bogus legal theory both in D.C. and down in Atlanta, Georgia, down in Fulton County, Georgia, 2 Democrat hellholes to try to throw President Trump in prison for the rest of his life for objecting to a presidential election. They're also trying to throw him in prison for having presidential records in the office of former president, which is allowed by the Presidential Records Act, while they ignore the fact that Biden had 5 stashes of stolen classified records from his time as VP,
of course,
and even senator.
Yeah, they're going to ignore all that. You're right. So, Mike, just to make sure I understand, we're tight on time here. January, while the Iowa caucuses are looming, Donald Trump could be sitting. Does he have to sit for trial?
He doesn't have to, but he's going to. He sat through these trials up in New York, and he should. And the problem is he's not going to get a fair trial in Fulton County, Georgia. He's not going to get a fair trial in Washington, D.C. There's no doubt he's going to get railroaded by this Tanya Chutkan and D.C., and this 95% Trump-deranged jury pool is going to find him guilty. The only way that this is going to end is when the Supreme Court steps up and says that what President Trump did is either protected by presidential immunity going back to George Washington 250 years ago, or it's protected by the First Amendment. This is outrageous what Democrats are doing. These are republic-ending tactics by Biden and Jack Smith and these Democrat judges like Tanya Chutkan.
And this is full scorched earth stuff. There is no recovery, crossing of the Rubicon. They're going full Dresden on the Constitution. They want to carpet bomb it. They want no memory of it to exist. Mike Davis, excellent. We'll have you on again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
You see, if we had an R&D